According to Hajime Satomi, the CEO of Sega Sammy, the live-action animated Sonic movie from Sony Pictures will be delayed until 2018. Right.
Yeah, so we still have to wait for that as well. So we have to wait for a fan animation and a proper feature film as well. So
We don't know what it's going to be about, though.
no, this is the thing. I mean, we've heard many things about this supposed to be Sonic film. I mean, the main thing we know is that apparently it is in the works. It's going to be made with Sony and Sonic Team and their own CG department, which is Missouri Planet. Am I getting that right? I might have got the name wrong, but basically Sega's own animation team that do most of the fancy CGI cutscenes and big games.
I think so.
Yeah, but basically that's what it is. It's going to be a collaboration between Sony and them, and that's pretty much all we know. And everything else for over the few years and months, it's
2 year. It was announced 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Like we're going to make a movie. Now we don't hear anything about it. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, should it be delayed in 2018? You think, okay, you know what? With all the movies coming out, especially with Deadpool, let's hold off until then. And another person called Van Robishau, I don't know how you pronounce your last name.
Someone asked the writer for the movie, basically saying, okay, so this is going to be someone's going to be an anime character in live action. So are we going to get the same shitfest of Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Smurfs, and Garfield, basically those type of films?
And he says they will be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
And even then, I can't exactly. I am taking that with a mountain of salt.
I mean, he's
usually with the exception of Who Framed Roger Rabbit and, in my opinion, Space Jam, because I grew up with that. Animation, live action stuff doesn't always work out very well.
No. I mean, here's the thing: it's worth mentioning because the point, as we know, this is not anything new. We've seen, animated shows turn to live action. And a lot of times it's either do we do it full on, get real actors, or do we have the main characters mainly being animated in a real world? And from this a lot of are doing it. And here's the thing about it, because really when you think about it, the idea of doing Sonic in live action isn't actually that bad idea because, again,
especially we're getting the Adventure series through to Unleashed. There are humans, and from the geometry of Sonic Unleashed, it is essentially a planet Earth.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that. It's the case of, well, okay, what if we were to put this character in sort of a real-world life? Basically, what if we had Sonic running across a real-life landscape? How would that look? Or some of the amazing visuals or set pieces you could do for a film. That's how a lot of these get started out. It's basically what if...
Pretty much got to New Zealand, really.
Yeah, well, that's the Lord of the Rings territory.
And Power Rangers, a lot of quarries there.
Yeah. But for me, it's funny because... Like I said, a lot of people are worried about this because, let's be fair, Sony hasn't been exactly in favour in terms when it comes to a lot of their films. Like I said, that, and we're already seeing...
Amazing Spider-Man, Fantastic Four... Yeah. No, that's Fox.
Yeah, I know, but again...
Just Spider-Man right now.
Yeah, exactly. Basically what they did to Spider-Man, not a lot of people liked it, the movie, Bob. But, like I said, and... Again, it's hard to really have a real solid opinion because, again, we don't know what it is. I mean, they're already still making this. It's like with the Ninja Turtles movie that the only thing everybody talked about for a long time was Bay's involvement. And that alone was the thing that, oh, fuck this project, fuck it completely. And then for a while, that movie just stopped. For a while, that movie just shut down and eventually remounted a few months later. And it came out. And the end result was, there are people who still hate it for what it is. But the people who have seen it, like me, for instance... It's nowhere near as god-awfully dreadful as I thought it was going to be. There's definitely still the traits of Michael Bay all over it, but that said, I can't say it's truly horrific. And
at least a sequel looks to be better.
Yeah, but then again, we don't know what that's going to be like. I mean,
apparently Krang's in it.
Yeah, well, hopefully. But like
no, he is. There he is. There was another trailer. But one thing I'm kind of worried about with a Sonic movie is... Especially when it concerns to the other Sony pictures with live action animations is please do not have a human framed character that we're supposed to relate to. because no one fucking likes Shia LaBeouf in Transformers.
Well,
He's like, you meant to relate to me because I'm a best friend with one of the Transformers, and I meant to reflect on your. Yeah, go fuck yourself.
yeah. Well, that's the problem with you doing this. That you're going to have real actors in this film. I mean, obviously, whether they're going to interact with these characters.
I can expect the gun agents. I can expect the president. I can expect some kind of liaison between the humans and the Mobians.
But again, I can definitely get the idea of, again, even like you said, they're supposed to be a kid. I mean, the idea is saying like a kid discovers them, like somehow if you do the whole, they come to. I don't like the idea of the being discovered because the Sonic fan hill trying doing that, like, oh, you're a South Islander. Like, there's one island has But you know what I mean? It's
creatures.
like somehow they go from their world to our world, and the first thing they see is a bunch of kids discover them or something. You know, that sort of down that tropes lane.
We don't want another Chris Thorndike either. I don't think every time I hear about Sonic X is everyone just does not fucking like Chris Thorndike. It's like, is this supposed to be a related character? Chris Thorndike took up most of the fucking screen time. Mm-hmm. He took the roles of majority of the adventure subplots, like he convinced Shadow to be good.
We have these other characters in the show. How the hell are we going to adaptate them into what was already been set in stone in the game?
I don't mind a few human characters in the show, but I don't want the one where we're like the audience is meant to relate to. It's like, yeah, no, don't try that. It's like, this is a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. We're going to relate to Sonic.
I know. I mean, that's the danger with this. Is obviously like, how do you relate to? Because the reason we do is basically, well, these are larger than life characters. How can you relate to them? It's like, I think people can relate to them. We're at a point now where, you know, the idea of adding something fantastical isn't anything weird and new. I mean, we live in an age where
my brother-in-law relates to Soundwave more than any of the human characters in Transformers.
But like I said, I mean, it's like people can attach to these more, even if they're not there in reality or just computers or just characters and rendering machines. People can relate to them. If there's a strong character to build off with, that is ultimately what people care about. And again, you can go in for ages about screens, about storytelling and how it works in movies and blah, 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 this. But again, it's like, at the end of the day, again, for me, the big thing is obviously, when we get really a good idea of what this movie is going to be, then obviously that is going to be the nub of what the film is. That's going to determine whether people are going to go like, oh, I'll see it, or screw it. Because there are going to be people out there. There are going to be people who are just going to be biased against it. And
all that fucking cynical that they can't tell their own asshole from a picture on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. And it is worth mentioning that doing this in live action, because even if you look at the Transformers movies, for example, I'm just using this as a technical term, is that you have to remember this is a lot of work to do, because if you are doing live action, first of all, your main thing is you have to film a lot of background plays. That's basically, you know, where is he in a scene, where's Sonic going to be? And then you're going to have to then figure out, okay, what time of day it was filmed, and add that in, and the geometry. Then you've got to recreate that computer. Then you've got to sort of do a digital landscape of it, using maybe a photograph. And then you've got to put the character in there, and he has to work. Obviously, he's going to be animated and modeled and rendered and have the right color for a certain scene and something. So it is a lot of work to do this. And it's the same with like the Smurfs and Alvin and Chipmunks. It is a lot of work. I mean, obviously, that alone you could say, okay, there's where all the money and work went into, even if the end result is stupid. But then again,
just basically make a condensed film version of the first two seasons of Sonic X minus Chris Thorndike.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, that's
pretty much what if they do it.
I mean, that's hypothetically, that's probably the nearest we think this might be. But again, what it'll end up is, we don't know. I mean, all I'm hoping is it's not just going to be a big, dumb, stupid comedy movie, because I think, you know, like I said, we already got Boom. Boom has already got us. We already got the comedy show. Boom is it. You don't really need the movie to do that.
I wonder how many people are going to look at this thinking, where the hell's Sally Acorn?
Yeah, well, God almighty. Well, they did try. Well, there was a fan film once, but that didn't work, so.
No. And he regrets it.
Yeah.